how she has adjusted to this new role 9 months in, and we'll talk a little bit about that as well as soon as she joins. There she is. So I'm excited ahead of Mother's Day. Hi, Mom.
Hi. I didn't know how it kind of connected me in. I look dark
Look
down
at
here.
you. Look
Um,
at you, a vision.
does it look really dark?
I don't think it looks really dark.
Oh,
I
really?
mean,
Okay.
compared to, I'm in like a white heaven here situation. So,
Oh, it looks
hi,
really dark.
Mom.
Hi, honey. I'm wearing the jacket you hand me down.
Which jacket?
You see?
Oh, so cute. Rebecca Minkoff. Love it.
Oh,
I
is
know
it? Yeah.
exactly who it is.
You should tell everybody that I get all my clothes or hand me down from Catherine's when she's finished. She puts them in a pile and
Okay,
I
but
get
I don't, a lot of them are not worn. So you should also preface that. They come to you with tags in them. And I also enjoy dressing you. Christina and I always have loved dressing you since we
That's
were able
right.
to. So,
That's you
yeah,
hand me down and Christina lays them out. So I'm really
exactly.
happy to be here with you on your BDA baby.
Thanks,
I
Mom.
finally made it. You've interviewed everybody but me.
Well, we wanted to save you because it's Mother's Day and you are, as I always say, the Queen Mother and now grandmother, even though you don't like that term.
Yeah.
Everyone always
And the
says, what?
grandmama.
Grandmama, exactly. So you got a ton of questions, and so I'm going to get to some of them. But first, we just wrapped up this week talking about so many different people's journeys to motherhood and the variety of different ways people can become mothers and how they can mother other people. And this Sunday is obviously Mother's Day, but it's also about the various different ways people are mothered, which I know you always make a point to point that out because some people are raised by their grandmothers, their aunts, just different people. But I always like to go back to the fact that you reminded me, especially being pregnant last year, that when you were pregnant with me, that you didn't really know if you would be prepared for it or be a good mother, yet you're sitting here with four of us kids who are all relatively normal and actually really love each other.
Yeah. I'm actually writing in that a little bit about that in the Sunday paper this week, that I was really scared to become a mother. I was worried that I wouldn't be good at it. And actually, my friends, when I was pregnant with you, put a fake baby at the door one day and they're like, do you know what to do with this? This is going to be real. I was like, I was worried, I didn't have an example for somebody in network news television who had a baby who was also working. So I didn't see how to combine the worlds that you were going to enter me into. And I was just afraid that, would I have the patience? Would I be good at it? Would I mess you up? Would I, all the questions I think that everybody has, right? I really loved my career, how I would combine them, how would it all work? And I remember saying, I worked right up until I had you, and then I told everybody, "Oh, don't worry, I'll be back in like a week. Just don't even say goodbye to me. Don't worry, I'll be back like probably before Christmas because I was having you in December." And they were like, "Yeah, right." I'm like, "Don't worry about it." And of course, the minute I had you, I was like, I don't even know how this is all going to work. And it does change everything, right?
Yeah.
And, and I think it was a waste of time, all of that worrying, that I didn't know what to do because, it kicks in for you. And certainly we all make mistakes as parents. But I always knew that I kind of tried my hardest.
Yeah.
And so whatever mistakes were made, and there were, obviously there always are, it wasn't from a lack of trying.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think the biggest thing that I always find myself as an adult now and also a new mom is everybody always tells me, and myself included, especially since becoming a mom, how you managed to have a career, be married, at one point be the first lady, run a home, have your family, manage so many different parts of everything, be a friend, you know, work like crazy, and you still raised four of us kids.
Yeah.
And
Well, I
you,
have to say, you know, it does take a village. I think that's
right,
really important. Nobody does any of that alone. You know, other mothers jump in to help you out. You helped out. Your dad helped out. Lindsay, who came on to as a babysitter, or Dawn, I had young women that helped me. So I think it's really important to honor all the people that step up and step in to help you out.
right,
That's really important. And when I look back on that time when I had, you know, four kids, 8 and under, it was just crazy. It was just insane. But I think I've told you that I didn't, there wasn't all of this discussion in the zeitgeist about time for the mother, me time, self-care. It wasn't even in my head because I didn't grow
right.
up with that. So that wasn't influencing me. And I think sometimes I think maybe that might make it harder because you're wondering about your me time. I'm now having me time. Me time is now, it's like 30 years later, I got the me time. But I had no me time. That's the
Mhm.
truth. And I think, you know, it requires time management. It requires, you know, really being really organized. I found myself, I was super organized. I put you guys in lots of activities. And that helped
Yeah.
out. You know, you guys did sports and different activities. And so that's a way of helping. And, and I, you know, definitely with each child, my career dropped down and down and down and down. And so I think that there were choices that I made along the way that
Mhm.
certainly impacted my career. And I think, you know, motherhood does require lots of choices.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I think I totally agree with you. And I think it's also intimidating to a lot of people to think that, you know, people think like you did before having me, I'm going to keep my career, everything's going to stay the same. And then the baby comes and everything stops. And when I was pregnant, I remember always saying to you, like, when did you ever have me time? And you were like, well, I just didn't. And I think
Yeah.
that it is great to be able to have social media for certain things and to be able to have people talk about having me time. But I also think that it does put things in your head about like, this is too much, this is overwhelming, this is a lot. And I remember you saying when you were at the Today Show, I think it was last year when Carson Daly was having his third or fourth kid, and you were like, I
Yes.
cannot believe he's like overwhelmed thinking about it. And then you're like, I can't believe that I had so much going on with you kids. There was so much activity, there was so much going on. And I feel like you don't really even like, you just did it with such ease and such joy all the time that it never was I mean, at least to my knowledge, I was 8 years old, but it was never like you were sitting there being like, oh, I'm so overwhelmed or I'm so stressed
Oh,
out.
I was definitely overwhelmed. Oh, I was overwhelmed. I think, you know, I think that that's the truth. It's overwhelming. I think, you
Mm-hmm.
know, being a mother, being a wife, running a business, whatever women find themselves doing, they're all multitasking. There are millions of single moms out there. There are widowed moms. There are, you know, people who are running businesses, holding down 2 or 3 jobs, who don't have daycare, all of these things. So it's overwhelming. I think to be a mother is a full-time job. To have another job is a full-time job. And some people have 2 or 3 jobs in order to make ends meet. So I think it's a great magic show to make your children feel like you're not overwhelmed. But I know many times I'd go in the bathroom and like burst into tears or feel like, oh my God, I'd shut the door. You know, having me time was like in the bathroom, like nobody come in, please, nobody come in. So I could just breathe for a minute. And I've talked to women who like go in the closet and shut the door just to have some time to themselves. But I think my mother always told me that, look at Maria, life is a marathon. It's not a sprint. Don't, you know, look at the whole picture. You'll have your me time later. You'll have the chance to do this or that if you're lucky later on. So just focus on what's right in front of you. And I think
Mm-hmm.
that's really good advice. no matter what you're doing. Focus on what's in front of you, try to do the best job you can, and then do it again the next day. But to tell other mothers that, oh, it wasn't overwhelming, it wasn't difficult, is a lie, because, you know, it was, as you I think said to me many times, you never get out of your exercise clothes. You know, I mean, things fell by the wayside.
Yeah.
My fashion, you know, probably taking care of myself, making an effort in certain areas, probably fell by the wayside because I was running from the minute I got up, organizing you guys, putting you in the cars, getting you to school, going to do my work, making sure everybody was in, you know,
Running the
the right
state.
programs in the
Yeah.
afternoon. And I think being able to focus on individual kids when you have multiple kids is also a challenge, because
So how did you do that?
well, I think, you know, I tried to pay attention because I grew up in a big family where everybody was considered the same. So everybody did the same activities. Everybody was, you know, viewed as being, you know, oh, you all have hair, you all have big teeth, you all don't even have your own names. And I was determined with you four to try to understand you as individuals, to find things that you each liked. So, you know, and gear your life and help you achieve the life that you were destined to have, as opposed to just making you you know, four of you into one person, so to speak.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And
Yeah. I
so
mean, I think that
go ahead.
sorry. I think that the key that and I was just saying this actually to a friend of mine, that you really raised all four of us kids to be our own individual people.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
as you're just saying, like you had, you know, I rode, Christina did dance, Patrick did one thing, Christopher did another thing. And it obviously that takes a huge amount of time and energy, but you also made us all feel like we were the most important person, and none of us got lost in the mix of there being four of us.
I hope that's true. I mean, that was certainly my effort. And I'm learning, you know, it's kind of, I was also just writing that parenting adult
Mm-hmm.
children is a whole new experience,
Right.
because the great thing about individuals is that you're also all growing and evolving and changing. And so my mothering has to keep up. It has
Mm-hmm.
to evolve and change as you all grow and evolve and change. And I really wanted to find things that I could do with each of you that was unique. I remember going to get basketball tickets so I could have something in common with your brother when he became a teenager, because I was like,
Right.
uh-oh, you know, he could go over sideways here if I don't find something. So even though I wasn't interested in the Lakers at the time, I started going to the Laker games, learning the names of the players, trying to understand the stats and stuff, so I would have something to communicate with him. Or I sit down with your other brother and watch comedy shows. He really introduced me to a lot of comedy that I wasn't, and I started going to comedy shows with him, and started also learning about sports, or watching. I now watch sports shows with him and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So that, or Jeopardy, you know,
Yeah.
things that were of his interest, or gaming. He was really, your younger brother, interested in gaming, and your sister interested in design, and you interested in horses and animals, and you know, animal abuse and all of those things. So each of you had very individual interests. And
Right.
then I think each of you have learned from the other's interests, which is what's great.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I also, you know, talking about all four of us kids and how different we are. I mean, you know, we're all, of course, siblings, and we love each other, and we also are very different and have similarities as well. But now that we're adults, I think the biggest thing that people always ask me is how you managed to raise four kids in Los Angeles with parents that were very public and active figures, and we're all adults now, and we all love each other and want to spend time with each other more than anybody else, and we all get along really well. We're all relatively normal people. That's like the biggest thing. And also, you know, something as a new mom that I also want to be able to learn from is how you managed to do that.
Well, I think, you know, thank you, first of all. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I also, having grown up in a public family myself, I was really determined to keep your lives private until you could decide for yourselves if you wanted public lives. I grew up in a well-known family and was part of a photo op from when I was about 4 or 5. And that had its own issues. So I was determined, and your dad was also down with that. Like, I want them to have a normal childhood. I want them to feel like priorities. I want them to not really be aware of their last name and who their parents might be, so that they can develop their own friendships and have a life that's uniquely theirs. So I worked really hard in that, and that you didn't kind of see you kids photographed in, you know, movie premieres and stuff like that, because I wanted you to have a private life. And
Right.
Our house was really off limits to kind of public functions and stuff like that. So that was a really important thing that I wanted to stress. And my parents also always stressed family loyalty and sibling loyalty. And so I wanted to stress that as well. I think some of the things I tried to copy from my parents were manners, having a faith, you know, kind of traditions, going to church. And then I knew that you guys might not want to continue to go to church, but I wanted you to have that as a foundation. I wanted you to have manners as a foundation. I wanted you to understand being of service to the larger community as a foundation. I wanted you to have respect for your parents as part of a larger foundation. And then I thought, well, once you got out of college or out of high school, you guys would maybe rebel against this or rebel against that, but you would at least have had a foundation. And I think it's great that you guys have friends from when you were little, and which is why I always made up different last names for you, or put just your last initial, so that people,
Right.
so you could have some form of privacy. And I think that that was something that I felt really strongly about, compared, because I grew up in the public eye.
Yeah. I mean, that was such a big gift. And it's something that now, as a mom myself, I definitely take that really seriously, because I think one of the greatest gifts you ever gave, you and dad both gave us 4 kids, was the gift of privacy, and also the gift of becoming our own people and choosing how we wanted to handle that part of our lives and when we wanted to step into that.
Yeah. And I think that that was really, I remember saying to your dad all the time, like, let's let them make that choice when they know what that choice means.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, you know, social media wasn't as strong as it is when you guys were growing up as it is today. But I think that I would do the same thing today. If you were little, I would really try to have as much privacy around your guys' lives, around the life you were living. If you were growing up today, I made sure that you guys didn't get phones until you were in the 8th grade, and you were always the last one to get those electronics. And I remember your dad getting Christopher a phone in 6th grade, and I found out about it, and both of them were like, eee! And then it was gone in 24 hours.
That was always a big thing, because you're talking about manners, the importance of manners and respecting our parents. It was always a really unique thing that I was the only one, when I was in middle school and in high school, I had a curfew, I had rules, I had chores. Yeah. You called every single parent before I went over to their house. I had to come home by a certain curfew, even though at the time you and dad were governor and first lady, and I had a police officer with me wherever I was, so you knew where I was. But you were a strict parent, and you had, you know, you were disciplined with, you know, making sure that we did our chores and that we were good people. But you also managed to instill a confidence and a best friend relationship with us, where we felt comfortable being ourselves and telling you anything that we possibly could. But also, I mean, I'll speak for myself, but I felt so comfortable talking to you about everything, and of course still do, but I also was very clear that I needed to respect and that I needed to do certain things as your child.
People always say that. I'm like, yeah, you know, I stood up for my mother when she walked in the room till the day she died. And my grandmother the same, and my dad the same. And I had great love for both of them, but I also had just enough fear that, you know, I didn't want to disrespect them. And I think, you know, I think your dad was very strong. I think just by his nature, people are scared of him. And so that was always a little bit of a help. But I never wanted to, my mother used to always say, like, don't you know, wait till your dad gets home and I'm going to, and I never wanted to use that because I wanted you to be equally afraid of me as you were.
I think
there.
anybody who's come to our house, even when I was in high school, everybody would think like, oh, it's going to be her dad that's so scary. And then they would come to our house and they're like, your mom is way more terrifying than your dad.
That's the big mystery. You know, your dad is the kind of the softie or the sweetie. And then they're all like, oh, I'm not scared of him at all. But her, I'm scared of her.
Really scared of her.
Yeah. But I think your dad was really great about chores. Making sure that you guys did your laundry, made your beds, and he was really strict about that. And I was strict about different things. And so I think it worked out well. We each had a different role and good cop, bad cop, that sort of thing. But I think in the long run, I think the foundation, one of the things I remember doing a story when you were just about to go into high school, and it was a story about parties that were going on in Los Angeles. And there was two kids who had died at a party. And I remember going to speak to a child psychologist. And he said, I'll never forget what he said to me. He said, parents up until 6th grade, and then the kid gets into a good middle school or a good high school, and they're so relieved that they just let them go free. And he said, the best thing to do is to keep a really tight hold on your kids, be as strict as you can through middle school and through 9th and 10th grade, and then start slowly, you know, giving more and more freedoms till you get to the senior year in high school, and then give more and more freedom so kids don't go nuts when they go to college. Right. And I remember him telling me that, and I thought, that is what I'm going to do. I'm going to be as strict as possible through middle school and 9th grade. I'm going to have a curfew. I'm going to be tough on the drinking and all that sort of stuff. And then I'm going to start to ease it out so that when you go off to college, it won't be your first experience breaking a curfew. It won't be your first experience having a drink, etc. And I think that worked out pretty well. But I got that idea from him when I went out to do a story.
Yeah. And what do you say, because another big question that a lot of people had asked is how you have learned to parent adult children, which I know you talk about a lot on your Sunday paper, and you also talk a lot to us kids about it. But I think the transition of parenting for you has been really eye-opening, of being a parent to children when we're younger. And then as we get older, I got married, now I have a child, and you know, each one of us are at different phases in our lives, and you continue to parent us so well, to the point where, and I always say this because people always ask how we're adults and how I'm married, but yet we're constantly coming home all the time. I mean, we want to come home, we want to be around each other, we want to be with our family, but you continue to be there for us. But I think the biggest thing is you say to be there, but also to not be there.
Yeah, well, I'm learning that. And it's interesting because most of the books on parenting are for little kids.
Right.
And there isn't much out there on the adult relationship between parents and adults, right? And how do you handle when a child gets married? The in-laws' families. How do you handle boyfriends, girlfriends, same-sex relationships, all of these things that parents are dealing with. And I've spoken to a lot of people who are really having to make it up as they go along. And so I'm trying to watch the different relationships. I'm trying to be there, but not be there. I'm trying to let you guys know I'm around, but also have my own life. You're needed one minute, you're not needed the next. Your opinion is valued, then it's like, why did you even say anything at all? What are you doing here? Why aren't you here? So it's a lot of what you might say is mixed messages. And I've talked to a lot of people and they're like, that's so true. Why doesn't anybody talk about this? So I'm starting to
everybody's saying, Maria, write the book.
Write it.
Yeah.
I know. It's just like, oh my God, the comment, it's really interesting. So I'm trying to phase myself out while also make sure that all four of you know that I'm there. And it's an interesting thing for me now to go and say like, okay, you have to develop your own life now, Maria. You have that me time. You have to go to dinner on your own. You have to, and yet you also have to pick up the phone and be available. So I'm trying to find that balance. And then, you know, nobody writes the book about how do you deal with in-laws? How do you deal with in-laws' families? How do you deal with different religions, different family upbringings, different rules, different expectations, values? All of these things are really, I think, super interesting, but you have to talk about them. They don't just happen. Good families don't just happen. Families that stay together and want to be together take work. They take listening, they take compromise, and you have to bend and evolve. And I remember telling you kids, you know, I have 4 brothers, as you know, you have 4 uncles. And I learned that if I wanted to get along with my brothers, I had to get along with the women that they were choosing to marry. And I had to find my place within that relationship. I had to welcome not only my sister-in-laws who I love, but their families. And I had to adjust and adapt. So I think that that's a really important thing, that you have to adjust and adapt and give and take and compromise and just keep trying to be a work in progress. I'm like back to being a work in progress. There we go.
Oh my God. Well, you do such an, I mean, you do an incredible job at it. And it was something that, especially as the oldest in our family, and I think we're so, you know, you raise the 4 of us kids to have that kind of a relationship where we are each other's biggest supporters and biggest advocates with everything and best friends, and also always told us that it's important to let each other do our own thing, date people that maybe we don't necessarily approve of, or, you know, have friends that we don't necessarily approve of, and let people kind of feel out and figure out their own thing, which I always really admired that you were able to do that so calmly, because even as I was just the sister and I'm like, what's going on here? There were plenty of times where I'd be like, what's happening here? And you'd just be like very calm the whole time.
Well, I found that you know, there's a, you know, people come and say like, oh, you have to tell your kid you can't go out with that person. I'm like, oh, really? I don't think so. You know, I think people, when they're told, oh, they can't do something, very often they just do it to spite you. And I kind of have great confidence in the 4 of you and in your judgment. And what I've always wanted and want for the 4 of you is that you find people who love you for who you are, that become your biggest cheerleaders, that treat you well, that reaffirm your worth to you, and that mirror to you your greatness. And if that person doesn't show up for one of you, that's when I would maybe like
have a moment.
have what you call the full Maria, but
which nobody wants to see.
Nobody wants to see that. But I think it's important to let people make their mistakes, make their choices, and help guide them, and then also just trust that your children will do the best they can, and you step in if you see something that might be really detrimental. But otherwise, you have to let people do their thing.
Yeah. Now, grandmotherhood. You are a new grandmama, and everyone always asks me about how you are as that role, and also just your experience with it so far. It's obviously new. But what is something that you, as now embarking on this new chapter of your life, this new role, and the 9 months that you've had in it, is there something that you would tell your mom self now that you are a grandmama self?
Well, it's even before I was a grandmama self. I would have told my mom self, had I had any me time, I would have told her, take a deep breath, you know, slow down. It's going to be okay. You've got it. Just take a breath. And so I wish I had taken maybe some additional breaths. I did a lot of shallow breathing for like 30 years, you know, like moving around like that. So I'm able with Lila Maria to breathe. I'm able to walk very calmly through the neighborhood with you and with her and with her auntie and her uncles, you know, but just really enjoying the moment because I now, you know, aren't working. I'm not working for a company and not working my way up in a career. I have my own company. I make my own hours. I've done enough work on myself that I'm aware of the present moment and time and the value of that. So I have a meditation practice. I'm calmer. And so I would have told my younger self, just take it down, Maria, take it down, breathe, enjoy it a little bit more, calm it down. But you know, I never thought much about being a grandmother. I just always still, somehow I'm frozen in time with everybody still as a child, you know. But as I write in my Sunday paper this week, I mean, Lila Maria is the most excited person to see me than anybody. There is nobody as excited as her when I walk in the room.
It's true. It is true.
I just want to spend time with her because when she sees me, she's like, so I, well, can you imagine? I remember saying this to my brother and sister-in-law. I was telling them this story. I was like, well, when she sees me, she just loses her mind when she sees me. I said, do you know how that makes you feel? Of course you want to go spend time with that person and nobody else. And so my sister-in-law came in the next day and she's like, and I said, what are you doing? What's the matter? She was like, I'm just trying to react to you so you see me and you like what?
That's true. I remember her doing that. It is true though, for people who, I mean, we obviously, you know, I think it is so true that not only are you such a hands-on and also present.
But you won't leave the baby with me.
I'm going to leave the baby with you.
Catherine will not leave the baby with me. And people are like, really? Why is that? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know.
Well, I mean,
I was able to get my grandchild at 2 months.
Mom, I will leave her with you. I just also will preface this by saying that you are, as a grandmama, you have so much fun with it. And then we'll be sitting at the table and I'll look over at Lila and she'll be chewing on the outdoor table with a spoon, slamming the spoon. I'm like, what are you doing?
It's okay.
I know.
I keep trying to explain to you, I know what I'm doing. It's going to be okay. You know, maybe there'll be some sugar involved. Okay. Maybe the clothes, her hair won't look so pretty. She will not be having like oil rubbed into her skin. She will not have bows in her hair, but we will be having some fun. I got it. You just have to let me take her.
I will now let you take her.
Please said, oh my God, you don't leave the baby. That's crazy. I agree. But I'm learning. I'm just not going to say anything about it. I'm just.
Oh, really?
I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to tell anybody. I'm not going to tell anybody that you won't give me the baby. And I'm just going to sit back and wait my turn. I'm not going to get involved.
Mom, you can take her. You're the busiest person that I know. You're running here. You're running there. You might say that you're not working your way up. You might say you're not working your way up.
I have to keep working. I have to keep going because you won't give me the baby. So as a result, I have to run and create these women's Alzheimer's movement centers. I have to do my Sunday paper. If you gave me the baby, I would drop everything.
Okay, fine. I'll do it. Fine. We will try it out. We'll try it out this week and report back if you really do. Just drop everything. But it's true. I mean, literally, I don't think I've ever seen in my life a child have a stronger reaction to a human being than she does with you.
Yeah, I'm waiting for any adult to have that reaction when I walk in the room. And then I'll tell you, I'm really out of here. If there's any adult that reacts like that when I walk in the room, bye-bye, kids.
Oh my gosh. Okay, the last thing I want to ask, since it's Mother's Day, is the best piece of advice that you got from my grandma, your mom.
Look at I love all these things here. Give her the baby. Give her the baby.
I'm going to give her the baby, people. I'm going to give it to her. I'll give it to her, and then you know what? I'll document the lack of naps, the sugar, the probably missing teeth after she chews the entire dining table.
I have to say, I can't take the baby because I'm afraid of Catherine. I'm afraid that I will give the baby something that I gave all of you that has now been deemed terrible. You know, like the cereal I gave you, all the food that I gave all of you. like Play-Doh, Lunchables, you name it. I did everything wrong, like when it came to food. So I'm so afraid that I'll probably give her an expired cracker or something that, and I'll never be able to touch the baby again. So I actually don't need to take the baby because
you're taking the baby this week. You're taking her this week.
I'm afraid of getting in trouble. See, the truth is I'm afraid to get in trouble. So don't give me the baby.
You're taking her this week. So you've already set yourself up.
Don't give me the baby.
You're taking her. Just watch. I'm leaving her with you. Oh, Chris and I are going to go have a date night, and you're going to take her, and you'll see. Okay. We'll see what happens. Okay, so tell us, what's the best piece of advice you got from Grandma?
Am I getting thrown off now?
No, I'm telling you. I'm asking you what the best piece of advice is that you've gotten from Grandma.
Oh, that life is a marathon, not a sprint. Just like look at your life in the long term, which is what I try to do. I try to imagine myself at 80 or 85 and then the breadth of my life. Mm-hmm. And that, so, you know, if it didn't matter if I don't have me time when I had 4 kids, you know, that close together, because now I'm getting it. So I think that was a really great piece of advice, not to worry. You know, there's that book called Don't Sweat the Small Stuff. Yeah. It's like you have a whole life to kind of sweat it. But I would say really to you, that same thing, but to really enjoy these moments, because we're all in such a hurry. And where are we going? Mm-hmm. Where are we going? I remember not too long ago saying to somebody, I'm in such a hurry. And she said to me, well, where are you going? And I was like, well, I don't know. Where am I going? I don't know where I'm going. So I think it's, you know, there's a lot of competition that's come into the mom world. And there's so much room for great motherly love in all of its forms. There should be no competition, no mom shaming. I hope that we can get rid of mom shaming, right, mom competition, mom judging. There are so many different ways to mother, so many different mothers, so many great mothers. And so I think it's that if we all could take a collective deep breath, calm down, and just congratulate all the mothers that are out there in any form, and all the grandmothers that are raising children, and all the aunts and uncles that step in when parents need them to. It really does take a village, and the child benefits from love, so much love. So just love the, you know what, out of that kid, out of that person. That's the greatest gift you can give. It's so much better than any presents or, you know, any of the other stuff that we all get bogged down on, right? It's just love, love, love. Have fun with your kids. Have fun with your kids. Give them some sugar. It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. And just have fun with your children. You know, that's how I think you get so that they want to be with you in their 20s. Make it fun. Instill a little bit of fear, and state your expectations clearly, also to in-laws, and then just have fun. Yeah, that's true. I think you've done an incredible job. I mean, I'm the only one that's married, but you've done an incredible job with also having your own relationship and own bond. Patrick, I'm on a live interview here with Catherine. Come in and say, Catherine's interviewing me about being a mother. See, this is Patrick. What do you want to have to say? Patrick is now coming in. He's shaven. Oh, reporting live, Patrick. We're reporting live. This is Patrick. There you go. Look at Patrick. He's joining now. So there we are. We now have Patrick who's joining in, and we're talking about all the wonderful things that I do as a mother. Patrick, how do you think mom made it so we all like each other as kids?
That we all what?
That we all love each other, like we all want to spend time together.
I don't know. How'd you do it? Give the secrets.
Well, what do you think? Oh, the chair is falling down.
I ate too much.
Oh, well, answer the question, Patrick.
I don't know.
Well, try to say something.
Family dinners. That's what did it.
There you go.
Well, most people also don't know that we have Sunday family dinner every Sunday, but also growing up, you made it a point to always have a family dinner every single night, which I think is lost on a lot of people now, especially as people sit on their devices and things like that. You never allowed devices at the table.
Oh yeah, remember how we used to fight
we used
about
to
that?
always fight.
Patrick would get really
no
mad.
phones allowed at the table. And when we were teenagers and everything, we still had to eat dinner every night at the house, which was very frustrating. But looking back on it, it was probably a good choice.
Yeah.
But yes, that was tough for me and my friends back in the day.
Yeah, it was really tough with the phone. We had
Really tough for Patrick with the phone.
Before Maria came out, I'm going to give you to 3 to put that phone down or off to your room.
And we didn't even have Instagram and those things back when I was in high school.
Yeah, but what
were you doing on your phone?
Text messaging.
Texting, probably like group chats or what was AIM messaging or something back in the day.
Or playing Snake.
He was just doing something that did not involve being present where he was. So that was like, but we're past that now. We're past that. Yeah. We've moved on from that.
We've grown.
Yeah, so we work together now. We hang out together. We go out to meals together. So I feel really blessed, and that's what I wrote about in the Sunday paper. I enjoy the 4 of you more than anybody in the whole wide world, and it's an honor to be your mother.
Aww.
You're really such great company. You're really fun. You include me in everything. I just don't know what I would do without you and your guys' friends. So I'm really, really blessed. And we're so happy that you chose to interview us today, Catherine.
Yes.
Oh, wow. I know. I definitely planned for Patrick.
Yeah.
We feel so honored.
Yeah, we're really honored. Aren't we honored?
I feel honored.
This is what honored looks like.
Oh, boy.
This is going to be her very first Mother's Day.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Patrick, come on.
I got flowers from you. Thank you, Catherine. When I walked in the door, there were flowers from you.
Oh, that's right.
You know that?
I penciled my name on there, too.
Yeah.
Of course he did.
Me and Catherine. So I was like, yeah, that's a good one. But anyway, we're really looking forward to spending Mother's Day together.
I know. I'm so excited.
Honoring you.
No, we're honoring you, the Queen Mother.
The Queen. Yeah, I need a crown.
There she is.
All right, well.
Patrick, go get her the crown. Go get her the crown off the shelf.
See my crown right there?
Good to see everybody.
Yeah.
Oh,
yes.
Patrick. Unbelievable.
Patrick is wonderful. And his son. There's my crown, Patrick. Get my crown. She's on Mary right there. Right, my crown right there. There's my crown.
Oh, yeah.
I have a crown.
Okay. Well, Mom, I love you so much. I'm so excited to see you and to spend all weekend with you.
Thank you so much. And this is my crown. One of you made this for me when you.
I think Christopher made that for you.
Arts and crafts, and it's here with me.
Arts and crafts. That was another big part of our childhood.
Yes, it was. And so I hope that all of the people who are out there, and I know, Mother's Day is also charged for many people, who have complicated relationships with their moms, or people who may have lost a child, or who may be estranged from a child. And so my heart goes out to all of those people as well, because I think on Mother's Day, that kind of wound gets, triggered. And so I think that I always like to kind of honor that as well. And I feel really blessed that all 4 of my kids are here. And I really thank God every day for that. So I want to thank you for having me on. Yes, there's several people on here that said their moms have passed away. So my mom passed away too. So I always think of my mom on Mother's Day. So I feel you if you don't have your mom here. So I don't either. What?
I know, Grandma. Yeah, of course. We always honor Grandma on Mother's Day as well. It's definitely a challenging time for a lot of people as well. And it's also a really beautiful holiday as well to be able to celebrate and honor our mothers and to shower you with love and joy. And baby Lila, give her to you. And I
don't want to take her.
Gonna give. I mean, if Chris had it his way, he would have given her to you a long time ago, because he's just as relaxed as you are. I'm the one that's like,
I know. Yeah. There's several. Oh yeah, several here. People saying that their moms just passed away. Yeah, so a lot of people lost their moms during COVID.
Yeah, that's
and,
true.
Time. So I send flowers to my mom on Mother's Day,
Mm-hmm.
and people go, "Why do you do that? She's not there." And I'm like, I don't know, just in case she is, and just in case she's checking it out. There's
She
flowers.
is.
There. Just in
She's
case
always around. That I believe.
I'm still trying to get her attention.
Oh my God.
That's it.
I love you, Mom.
I love you too. I'll see you soon.
Okay, love you.
Mother's Day to everybody.
Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day.
Bye.